The Enchantress of Black Hollow. Black Hollow had always been a quiet, sleepy town, tucked away between endless forests and misty hills. But in the autumn of 1886, something, or rather, someone, awoke the town from its slumber. Her name was Eveline Moreau. She arrived without warning, stepping out of the morning fog as if she had been born from it. Her beauty was unearthly, long, raven black hair cascading over her shoulders, eyes the color of twilight, and lips that seemed permanently curled in a knowing, almost mischievous smile. Every man in Black Hollow wanted her, every woman envied her. She was the subject of hushed conversations, stolen glances, and unspoken desires. Yet no one knew where she had come from, and no one dared to ask. The mysterious estate. Eveline settled in an old estate at the edge of town, a place long abandoned and rumored to be haunted. Despite its dilapidated state, she transformed it into something out of a dream. Warm lights flickered through the broken windows, strange yet enticing. Fragrances drifted from the chimney, and the roses in the overgrown garden bloomed with unnatural vibrance. By day, the estate seemed inviting, but at night, an eerie glow emanated from its highest windows, casting strange shadows upon the land. Men lined up at her door with gifts, eager to win her affections. Some brought flowers, others poetry. A few even came bearing family heirlooms, willing to part with their most treasured possessions for a mere moment of her attention. Yet, Eveline never truly belonged to any of them. She would smile, flirt, and accept their gifts, but no one ever claimed her heart. One by one, the most devoted of her admirers began to disappear. Whispers and suspicions. At first, their absences were explained away. Henry Gardner had gone to visit his cousin in another town. Thomas Lyle had joined a traveling merchant caravan. But soon, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. Black Hollow had never known such vanishing acts before Eveline arrived. And still, she remained in her estate, more beautiful than ever, her presence an eerie contrast to the town's growing unease. The whispers turned to accusations. Some claimed she was a witch, others said she was a demon in disguise. But no one dared confront her directly, for fear of falling under whatever spell she had cast upon the town. A few, however, tried to investigate, only to find themselves inexplicably drawn to her once they stood in her presence, their suspicions melting into admiration. Strange occurrences plagued the town. On moonless nights, spectral figures were seen near Eveline's estate. The howling wind carried voices. Some swore they heard the cries of the missing men. Doors slammed on their own, and eerie whispers seemed to slither through the very walls of the homes in Black Hollow. The skeptic. Then came Samuel Whitmore. He was unlike the others, not easily swayed by beauty nor bewitched by charms. A skeptic by nature, Samuel was determined to uncover the truth. He watched Eveline from the shadows, noting the way she moved, the strange hours she kept. One night, he broke into her garden and found the soil freshly turned, as if something had been buried beneath. With a lantern in hand, Samuel dug. What he uncovered made his blood run cold. Bones, old and new, stacked upon one another like firewood. Some still had scraps of flesh, remnants of clothing, recognizable as those of the missing men. There were dozens of them. The scent of decay clung to the damp earth, filling his nostrils with a sickly sweet rot. Samuel fled, breathless, heart pounding against his ribs. He had to warn the town, had to put an end to whatever horror Eveline had brought upon them. But as he stumbled through the trees, he realized he wasn't alone. The transformation. A soft, melodic voice called his name. He turned, and there she was, standing just beyond the reach of his lantern's glow, her twilight eyes gleaming with something unreadable. And quot, "You should not have done that, Samuel," and quot, Eveline whispered, stepping closer. And quot, "Now you know my secret." And quot. He raised the lantern higher, its flickering light casting eerie shadows over her perfect face. And then, before his very eyes, Eveline changed. Her beauty remained, but something within it twisted. Her pupils stretched into slits, her fingers lengthened. Her skin darkened like an exoskeleton forming over flesh, a monstrous thing wrapped in allure. Samuel tried to run, but the world tilted, the ground no longer solid beneath his feet. Darkness swallowed him whole. The town's silence. The next morning, the people of Black Hollow awoke to find Samuel's house empty. His lantern lay shattered at the edge of town, the glass smeared with something dark. Eveline Moreau still lived in her estate, still smiled that knowing smile, still turned the heads of every man who crossed her path. More suitors would come. More would fall under her spell. And more would disappear, feeding the hunger that lurked beneath her beautiful facade. Yet Black Hollow did not rise against her. Fear ruled their hearts. Those who had once whispered warnings now kept their voices silent, unwilling to meet the same fate as Samuel. And the others? The town's priest attempted to banish her with holy words, but he too vanished. His crucifix found blackened and cracked upon the church steps. Some townsfolk left Black Hollow altogether, unable to bear the weight of knowing what resided among them. But the town, at its core, remained. Life carried on. The market still bustled, children still played, and the inn still welcomed travelers, though they were always warned to stay away from the estate on the hill. And so, Black Hollow remained a quiet, sleepy town. And it would remain so. For no one dared speak of what they knew. Not if they wished to survive.